Hi everyone, welcome back to Real Life Gaze and welcome to is this episode 7?
Wow. It is, yeah.
7 weeks of Real Life Gaze. How are we all doing? How are we doing, Rhys, over in Cyprus?
I'm good, I'm really good. It's very hot today again, guys. 36
I'm going to stop asking this question because you just need to answer. Oh, and how are you, Lee?
It's good. It's actually hot here again today, so I'm sitting here with the fan that I'm not allowed to have on because of the sound.
So you're going to be perspiring, are you?
Glowing.
Glowing, yes.
Sparkling.
Don't sweat. We glowed. So thank you as always for everyone who watched our last episode all about Pride. It is still available on our YouTube page, so please give it a like, give it a watch and subscribe. And as always, you can email us reallifegaze@yahoo.com, and you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Real Life Gaze. We've got a few topics all lined up in the next few weeks, but if you've got anything you want us to talk about or got any questions or just comments to say how fabulous we are, please send us some messages because we love it. We like that
we are
a fan club. So this week we've got a little bit of a surprise. We have our first celebrity. I'm going to fangirl here because some of you might not know who this person is, but if you grew up in the 90s, like me and Rhys.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lee. This guy is from a band called Scooch. So they were a band back in 1999 through to 2004, I believe, and they're probably best known for representing the UK at Eurovision in 2007 with the song. What is the song?
We're flying
the flag. Don't leave me singing on your own.
Yes, flying the flag. Yes, and we didn't do very well. I think we finished in like 20-something place.
We never do very well though, we
never do very well. That wasn't the band's fault, was it? So we have the lovely David Ducasse, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, joining us. He is an openly gay man, and we just thought it would be nice to have him come on and tell us about his experience of being in a boy band. Well, it's not a boy band, it was just a pop band because there was 2 girls and 2 boys.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, early noughties, and just to give us this experience about what life was like being in the public eye back then. So yeah, he will be joining us in a few seconds to discuss it. So I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Yes.
Yay. So before he comes, here is a little introduction just to refresh a lot of people's memory about who David is and who the band Scooch are. So here we go. So here he is, everyone. Here is David from Scooch. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much. It's very exciting to be here.
Joining us. First of all, have you seen any of our shows so far?
Of course I have. I've researched you all. I've stalked you all. I know exactly what you've been talking about. That's what a good guest does, you see, who doesn't have a PR person.
I'm actually totally fangirling right now because I am a huge fan of Scooch.
Okay.
Huge fan. And I have to mention as well, my sister's boyfriend, yes, he is straight, loves Scooch, loves them. He loves everything cheesy pop. I mean, I told him that you were coming on as guest. He was like, no way. I was like, yeah.
Here he is in the wardrobe.
We are waiting. We are waiting. No, but when Lee said, "Oh, I've been speaking to David from Scooch," I was like, "No," I said, "You have to get him on," because honestly, I'm not just saying it. I was a huge fan back when I was a teenager, should I say? So thank you so much. It is a very, very big honour for you to join us today.
Shut up. He's just after, lads, he's just after like a great Christmas present from his sister. We all know how it works. That's what it is.
So you're the first celebrity, shall we say, to join us on RLG. Hopefully the first of many, shall we say.
Yeah. It's like even good. She built me up. I hope I live up to the accolades.
Oh, you will.
Sure you will. I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
This is Rhys who was just going to pop up now again. Oh, you will.
I'm here. I am here. Don't forget that.
I probably posted it after your video. So I've posted it as well.
See, it works.
I took tips from you.
So I want to go back, just in case there's anyone watching who doesn't know who Scooch are, which is shocking. Could you tell us how Scooch first became, I mean, I know obviously, how Scooch first became a band? Because some people might not realise that you were on like almost like a competition, but as an already formed band, is that right?
Yeah, for Scooch, it's kind of like, I always think as little chapters, like a bit of a story. So the first chapter was from the 90s when we were a manufactured pop group, like so many pop acts are at the time. So yeah, we were put together, a bit of a different lineup at the beginning, like a lot of bands, and then they switched people around, and yeah, we kind of had in the public eye, I think in the 90s, about 18 months, I think it was. And then we disbanded and took some time out so Natalie, our lead singer, could go and have children. We've always hated her for that. And then we kind of got back together publicly. I always say publicly because people say, you're having a reunion. We never kind of split up. We just don't do things that everybody can see. So yeah, we got back together for Eurovision in 2007, which was very crazy and very unexpected. And then I think we're kind of in our chapter 3 now, where we've got so many things like happening in the background and conversations that we're having, and we had so much planned, and then coronavirus hit and just kind of like life, you have to pause. We paused probably the bigger plans that we were going to do, and the beauty of the situation is we've all got a bit more time on our hands and we can do things as friends, and if we want to, just like you guys, put it out there and share it. The 4 of us are all performers, so we have a desire to share what we create, like anyone. So yeah, we've put a few things out there.
That's good.
I did see that you've got an announcement today. Is that right?
Yes. When again, it'll probably be out there by the time this is seen, I would imagine. So yes, I can talk about it.
Yes.
It's kind of exclusive in real time, but not when it's shown. So yeah, there's again, everything's been affected by the current situation. So there was supposed to be a big Eurovision movie. I don't know whether you've heard about it.
No.
Starring Will Ferrell, Pierce Brosnan, blah blah blah, and it was going to get a big movie release. But then when the situation happened, it got paused. And rather than wait until next year to release the movie, they are putting it on Netflix. So it's called Eurovision, and the lead single we have recorded just a version of it. So at 5 o'clock tonight, it will be shared with the World Wide Web on the Scooch official YouTube channel.
Ooh,
I'm so excited about that.
It's brilliant. If you like kind of flying the flag, like when we first heard it, I said to Russ, what are we going to do? And you'll know when you hear the start of this, like it's a bit like heavy breathing. It's just, it's bizarre. But then it's one of those songs, classic Eurovision, when you hear it, you just can't stop singing it, and then you start changing the words. So it's called Volcano Man. I always sing Potato Man now because I've been singing it for a while. But yes, the more that you hear it, the more that it grows, and that's another element of chapter 3, I suppose.
Okay.
We've got other things that we're doing for next month and the month after, and then for next year. So it's an ongoing story. I always say the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
And when we get back to May next year, believe me, the best is yet to come. So
Oh, I'm excited. So you've never actually...
Gareth is like having a
What?
Gareth's like fainting and everything.
You're gonna love it. Honestly, you're gonna love it. This is something we've been sitting on for, when was it? It was when
Can we get free tickets to the tour?
I don't think we'd ever tour. We might like join a lineup of other people, but again, let's be dead honest. You know what? We weren't ever that kind of band. We didn't have that accolade. I always think if our fourth single from the 90s was For Sure, which Gareth, you will love what we've got planned for that. That's all I'm going to say. You'll love what we've got planned for that next month to mark the anniversary. Anyway, I'm giving too much away. I'm the worst member of Scooch because they always stop telling me. Anyway, I think if we got beyond that single and gone in the direction that we planned to, this is where I'm totally blaming Natalie for having a child, then maybe we would have done a tour. But I think we've just got fans who grew up with us and just loved what we were about. You know, we always get compared to the likes of Steps. Steps can sell arenas. Scooch couldn't sell arenas, and we're not. I don't think we would want to. We like kind of just dipping our toes in, normally around Eurovision time, and then going back to real life because we're not.
You joined, was it Bewitched and Five on tour? Is that right?
Yes, and we supported Steps as well. So we've done Five, we've done Bewitched, but yeah, we did the full Bewitched tour as the headline support act, which. It's so funny, I was talking to Gareth, my other half, just the other night actually, about that experience, because Gareth doesn't know Scooch, which is so weird. But Bewitched was fantastic. It was brilliant.
I'm glad I didn't get to see his live ever, so that's my goal.
Yet.
So my favourite song is More Than I Needed to Know. I've actually got a playlist on my Spotify that's just called Favourite Songs throughout my whole life, and it's on it. So that if after every episode, you might know we do a lip sync. We're doing a lip sync to that one after this episode.
Oh, get in. Good choice. You'd struggle with For Sure because there's not much for the boys to do. Ow! And then
there's a lot of bada.
Yeah, but I love More Than. That was such a that was the song I remember when we heard it. It again, when you go in and record a song, you record it in bits, you know, and then it's put together. And definitely in the 90s, you know, I think now it's very different. God, the amount of control that we have because it's all passion project.
Yeah,
very different. But we heard that song, and you just knew Mike Stark and Matt Aiken, who wrote it along with Steve Crosby. They were just brilliant at what they did. You can tell with that song, it took a lot of time to create, whereas with some of the album tracks, like most bands, you just think, oh, that would have took 2 minutes and a packet of cigarettes, you know, rather in a smoke and break kind of thing. It's that kind of thing.
So, what was it actually like being in a pop band back then? Was it a bit of a whirlwind, or tell us?
The 90s again, because between chapter 1, 2, and 3, chapter 1 it was a job. It was very much a job, and you did your apprenticeship. Like any trade, or you know, you guys, I don't know what you all do, but I'm sure you would have put some training into being able to do your job. So we spent probably about 18 months, 2 years, getting to know each other, recording, doing gigs, turning up at things, getting the name out there, showcasing to record companies, and then you get your deal. You know, you get your record deal. So it's finally, now you've made it. We've signed a record deal. So that was all hard work. It was a job. It was a job, and you know, you used the word celebrity, and I think celebrity is just somebody who is known. You know, you're a brand or a face where you think, I recognise that's Coke, I recognise that's Nike. You know, that kind of thing. And I think in the 90s, when we didn't have things like social media, you know, we haven't got what we've got now. Everybody turned up to premieres. They looked for big events to bring all these tins of baked beans together. And why should we choose you? Why do you choose Branson over Heinz and blah, blah, blah. So it was a whirlwind, and it was a job. You know, I remember going to premieres, and we were lucky that we had 4 tins. I'm being so waffly, as in talking about baked beans. But we had
We
14 baked beans with the Scooch brand, and we wouldn't stand together apart from the red carpet. We'd go and network. We'd go and schmooze. Is that still a word? We'd go and schmooze. People who wrote columns and papers, because you're fighting to get your mark, all overseen by a record label who are after the money that they're investing in you. Now it's a different, you can record an album in your living room and put it out there, and it's a different kettle of fish.
Are you kind of glad in a way that you didn't have social media back then?
I was always like that. We all have different roles and we all do different things. We work on our strengths. And I suppose I was always the social media person that I was waiting for this time, I think, in the 90s, in the sense that I remember we had our own MySpace, we had a website, we had a phone line. You'd ring the phone line for 60p a minute and get a message from one of us. And I was the person who kept updating on the back of the postcard, ring for David's message. I updated mine nearly every other day. So I think I was probably like waiting for this. But I think that's because I love that element of the job. You're in a band, you spend don't join a band to sing, because you don't do that for most of the time. You talk about what's to come, you do interviews. That was the job. Unless, you're touring and then you have your 3 months, 12 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it would be, big explosion of what's in there. So yeah, I think I forgot the question. I've gone off on a tangent. What did you ask?
If you're kind of glad you didn't have social media back then when you were...
Am I glad? Yeah, because I suppose if you wouldn't have had things like the TV programs that we had then. Everything's a lot more streamed and instant. Look at there's no SMTV, CD UK, there's no Top of the Pops. There's all that kind of stuff. The way that we receive music, the way that it's put out there is a lot more controlled now. You just need a social media profile and that's your channel. Whereas you needed a label who had contacts to get you on these other outlets to share it. So it's a double-edged sword. I wish that, again, to kind of blur your two questions, I wish that I could go back and probably appreciate it a bit more. Like life, if you knew that it was going to last for that amount of time, what would you do differently? Very current to this situation, do we want to look back and think, I wish I'd done that with that time? Because none of us will ever get this window of space in our lives again. Or do we want to do something with it? I've started running. I've learned how to cut hair. Read the book that I've been saying I'm going to read for about 3 years. But again, you never know. One day.
Well, we started this. You know what I mean? This is it's caused this. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to take a negative and make it into a positive, and that's what we've done with this.
Like little batteries, aren't you?
So we have to talk about Eurovision. Because I feel like Eurovision, although these were very successful before, I feel with Eurovision, you obviously reached a whole other market around Europe and the world. How did Eurovision even come about? I know you were on was it one of the first shows where the public had to pick? And it was, filled with controversy because they announced the wrong bloody winner, didn't they? Yeah. How bad was that? And then that hit the newspaper headlines. If you guys don't know, they're on the show, how like BBC does, who sings for Eurovision and you choose. It was between Scooch and this girl called Cindy, and Fern Cotton, and what was his name was there?
Terry Wogan.
Terry Wogan. So right at the end, they said the person who's going to represent Eurovision is Terry Wogan shouts Cindy, and Fern Cotton shouts Scooch, and they're like,
I remember that.
I think Cindy.
I remember that, yeah.
I remember that.
So it started off with newspaper headlines, and then of course, when it got to Eurovision, it was Campus Christmas, loved it.
I loved the song.
I loved the song. It was a love-hate song. Half people were like, what is this? And other people are like, this is what we need for Eurovision.
I do actually remember, that song's on quick, and running onto the dance floor and trying to do the dance and everything. Obviously, I'm slightly older than the boys, so I'm similar to your age, so I remember it well.
So tell us, what was the whole thing like for you?
It was crazy. It was quick. Again, just to kind of add something to the start of what you shared there, because it's so right. Russ, the other guy in Scooch, he had been through the UK selection programme when the British public choose who they want to represent them. It's not our fault you didn't win, public, it's yours. He went to see his friend who was entering for the UK in the audience. And then he just kind of had a chat with one of the producers who we actually worked with back in Chapter 1 in the 90s on a TV show called Liquid News. And he just said, how would we go about the kind of entrance? So he learned the protocol, phoned us up and said, if this is a go, would you all want to do it? And we just said yes. I don't think we performed together for a couple of years at that point. Fast forward to 2007, February, Valentine's Day, the phone goes, "Hi Russ, how are you?" It was like, "Just to let you know that we're doing Eurovision this year." And we were like, "What?" So the weirdest thing was the song didn't even exist. I hadn't even heard the song. It was just a bizarre. So anyway, that's a different story. We got the go-ahead, find out that we actually had won rather than Cindy. And it was just 4 months of, again, press, radio interview, fulfilling obligations where you're putting your package together to share with the other countries because, they are inclusive in the votes as well. So it was probably one of the best times for Scooch, I think, because again, we didn't have any pressure. I mean, I know you can see, well, you went in an international competition. Of course you've got pressure, but we didn't have any pressure from the people who could have pushed us in certain directions.
Mm.
We didn't have a management. And the management was the program. We didn't have a record label until, we shopped around for a record deal for Flying the Flag. We knew we had something that was worth a shelf. And we went with the person who gave us the best deal. So, and the beauty, which wasn't actually our decision, with Eurovision, that year they wanted acts from the past. So you'll probably remember Liz from Atomic Kitten, Brian Harvey from Me 17, Justin Hawkins from The Darkest, Big Brothers, and other people. So everyone was kind of like a past face from the 90s. And they just wanted something a bit naughty, a bit more carry on. Because Scooch were involved in the show, but we didn't know which box we were going to tick, which is why Flying the Flag was specially written for that show, because that wasn't the song that we entered with. The BBC said, "Have you got something else?" It was actually a Scooch song that we, not Flying the Flag, the original song was a Scooch song that we never put out there, and it just says their words, "It's too good. Have you got something? Have you got something else?" And then Russ, who's a bit of a blagger, just said, "Yeah." And then he said, "Right, guys, I've got to write a song over the weekend. Can you come and put this together?" So I remember getting on a train to London whilst looking at the EasyJet, on Google, in-flight announcements, thinking, right, okay, I've got to say it. So we just recorded, me and Caroline did about 25 different things. And then typically Russ and Morton, who when they get together have lots of naughty fun, just chose all the suggestive ones. And then the BBC liked it and then said, right, can we hear the rest of the song? And then we had to create the rest of it because it was just the chorus and the ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da bit. So the verses came later. But it was fun. It was fun.
Oh,
It was so much
That's
fun.
amazing. I love hearing this.
I know. But
Rhys didn't even know who Scooch are.
I do.
yes, he does.
I thought it was going to be Lee from Steps.
You must have got compared to Steps all the time though, because it was kind of the only band back then that was kind of mixture of boys and girls doing kind of cheesy pops. Does that annoy you when you're always compared to Steps?
I think in a day it did, because it's quite a, it's like any question. If you get asked the same things, you just kind of, your answers become shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
But I think with Steps, we were raising a finger to Steps, because again, I don't know what you know about Scooch, but Steps were created by our manager. He wrote 5, 6, 7, 8. He introduced them to Pete Waterman, and then there was a bit of a whirlwind, and Steps kind of just said, right, bye Steve, and went off with Pete Waterman. So you've got a manager here who's, again, invested years of his time and money in a band, created a really well-known song, and then they've just did a runner. So he's like, right, okay, great formula, let's do something similar. And then worked with the other half of the writing team. So you had Stock, Aiken and Waterman. So Waterman's got Steps, Stock and Aiken, let's give them something. So there was a lot of things, again, which I suppose at the time we weren't aware of. We were kids, you know, we were 19 to 23, who at the time just wanted to perform, or, you know, everyone had different motivation or reasons for being in the band. I wanted to act, you know, I never viewed Scooch as the end. I wanted to be an actor. It was just a place to get a decent agent or a better agent, to get out of the Northeast and get to London and all those kind of things. So yeah, we were, you know, personally, I think the difference being we've got a better sound, I think, is for individuals. You didn't even ask me what's the difference, but I'm telling you. We genuinely got on. We are good friends. You know, Steve Crosby and choosing a whole host of people who we would never have met if I hadn't been with Scooch, and putting 4 dynamics together. He learned his craft from Steps. He probably learned from his mistakes, because they don't always get on, you know, like any kind of band or workspace.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were compared to it, but they didn't do Eurovision, so it's nice in chapter 2 and chapter 3. We're doing different things. Faye doesn't live too far from me. You know, I often see her as. Say hi, Faye.
You touched on that, you know, you wanted to go into acting when you were younger. So what did you want to be when you were younger? Did you want to sing? Did you want to perform? Or
this kind of links to the things that you guys have discussed. I was never happy in my skin for a lot of reasons, for being overweight, for having spots, for being bullied at school, for being gay. So I always wanted to be someone else. I always wanted a reason to be aware of people looking at me. And I always thought, well, David hasn't got a great deal to offer, so let's be someone else. So I'm good at picking up accents. I'm good at mimicking people. You know, that's kind of probably that quest to be somebody else, I suppose. Facetune's wonderful. I'm just going to make myself look like someone else today. Still doing it.
I love Facetune.
It's brilliant.
So do I.
That wasn't around in the day. So yeah, I did. I wanted to perform, and I think it was from school. I was friends at school with the teachers, and as an adult looking back again, you know, they were just protecting me because my bullying was pretty extreme at school. So on breaks, I didn't go out and socialise with the rest of the people. In a classroom, I was protected, and then that continued. So, you know, 2 great teachers, a music teacher and a drama teacher, who just kind of put me under their wing, and I think because they were so passionate about their subject, I followed their passion, and they nurtured, you know, they gave me positive praise. It's okay to sing as a boy, it's okay to dance as a boy, it's okay to act as a boy. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with that. I'm not somebody who works hard for the applause. I think if you're good at what you do on any level, you'll get recognition, you know, you'll get noticed, but it's not always about that. So yeah, I always wanted to act, probably because I felt that was my strength. You know, I could sing a bit, I can dance a bit, or I'll work hard to get it right. But acting was always my thing. And weirdly, that's probably the thing in my performance career that I've done the least of. You know, I always say, if you want to pay me to sing and dance, I'll do it. But please just give me 6 months on Emmerdale. Let me go in, be a gay lover, kill someone, and then go back to real life. Make my dream job. That's what I want. So have you got any contacts?
So with us being a show called Real Life Gays, that was kind of our next thing to ask you. That what was it like being gay in a pop band back 90s, early 90s? Because obviously, was there a lot of like questions about your sexuality? Because I know like what they did with Steps, they always put Lee and H with the girls, like to make it look like they were together. Did you get asked a lot of questions about your sexuality? And what was it like?
No, we didn't get asked, not in the early days. There was always, I mean, there was some journalists who, you kind of have a hunch, don't you, if somebody's gay. And I think a lot of people just believe that both Russ and I were gay.
Okay.
But no, I suppose I was very aware of it. At the time I was in a long-term relationship, actually. But it wasn't necessarily, David, you cannot tell anybody that you are gay. It was very much, you four have to be perceived as being single. So Natalie was married at the time, for example, to her first husband, and nobody ever knew. So it was more cloak and dagger, us trying to hide that. You know, the wedding ring had to come off. Our ages changed ever so slightly. You know, Rhys, it was decided that Rhys would be the youngest in the band, and he wasn't the youngest in the band, but he was the blonde, floppy-haired, blue-eyed baby of the group. So there was lots of mores, and I think that's just the way that pop culture at that time was. So it was very much all four of us were perceived to be single, like every other act. So we would get asked questions, you know, who you're dating, and you know, our stock answer, because the four of us are very good at supporting each other or jumping in, would be, you know, oh well, tonight it's Caroline, tonight it's, and then occasionally, depending on the publication, I'd throw in, it's Rhys. But again, that was very bizarre, because Rhys and I didn't speak for the first year of Scooch, which was another very bizarre thing. So yeah, it was again, chapter 2, getting back to Eurovision, it was lovely to be able to just go and be who you are.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the selection show when we did our VT. They said they wanted to do a VT of us to say, what have you done since we last saw you? So from 90s to Eurovision, what have you done? And they gave us all jobs. Rhys had done a lot of TV work, actually, as a TV presenter. So they wanted to say he was a game show host, Caroline a lollipop lady, Natalie a teacher, and they wanted me to be a mechanic. And I just said, you know, anybody who knows me will know that I am not a mechanic. You know, I don't like getting dirty. Have you seen this? Have you seen how Christina's is? You know, this is not mechanics. So then kind of the warrior in me, because I'm the person in Scooch who would say, actually, let's think about this. Or I'd be the impulsive one. I was like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. If we're going to do the VT, which I understand, I want it to be truthful, because people in the Northeast who have supported me as a person, me in my other roles. I mean, I'd set up a stage school, I'd set up 2 businesses, I'd done a lot of things. Why would I not go on TV and be proud to say, actually, I've been teaching kids for 12 years, which I'm hugely proud of. Yeah. Natalie, why would she not want to say, I'm a mother of 2 kids? You know, I've raised a family. So it was that kind of, you encounter it. Anything, I think, when it's put out there, you play a bit of a game. And some people go along with the game, and then you get to a point where you think, well, I could or I couldn't. And Eurovision was a game, you know. Flying, the interesting thing is talk about like kind of sexuality and performance is, I think a lot of people, if I bump into somebody in Asda who's not Faye from Steps, you know, I think they almost expect me to turn around and say something to suck on for landing, sir. They don't recognise that that's a strain, that's a version of a performer who's playing a role, you know. Like anyone, whether you're gay or not, I can camp it up. My voice can go higher, it can go lower. I can use my hands a bit more, you know, if I want to. But that's one bit of a 360, and I think that's the difference between, again, linking back to what you asked before. It's one element of putting yourself out there publicly. It's a very double-edged sword, because I'll give you one example. The way that I'm currently at home trimming my beard, I'm going somewhere with this, believe me. It looks like I've had massive fillers on my lips. I know it does on screen, but it's not. My lips are not big. It's just because I colour my beard like most of us do, and you know what, they look huge. I get that. So we upload Zoom on Scooch Official, and it's like, but what is the person in the bottom right? I'm in your space, Lee, by the way, on the Zoom video. What is the person in the bottom right-hand corner done to his lips? It's like absolutely nothing. But what on earth gives you the right to comment on the way that I look? And that would be the same, whether it be sexuality or any other thing. God, I wish I had. Could get fillers in my lips. You know what I mean? Wait till you see the after lockdown video. You know what I mean? I hate the fact that my forehead moves right now. Anyway, I'm being honest.
I'm Monica being here.
It's just have a Botox party on Zoom.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's getting back to reality. It's just that, and I'm not the sort of person, you know, the warrior in me wants to stalk that person and send them a vile message and make them feel bad about themselves. I'm not that sort of person. But if I did, it would come off worse on me. So David from Scooch all of a sudden, rather than just a human being, ends, or it would start more comments and more stupidity. It's just,
it goes round and round. It just carries on.
The question, Gareth, I don't even know what you asked now.
Well, that was my next question as well. You kind of touched on it. Did you ever experience any trolling or nasty or bullying throughout your whole career, like even back then to now? Have you had, apart from that one comment you just said, like anything else?
One of the worst things that we ever experienced was actually we did a tour of kids' discos very early on, like under 18 or whatever it was, under 16 discos. And that was probably the worst, because we've all been that age, and I'm not advocating this, but I drank when I was 14, 15, it's good in your mum's cabinet, that kind of thing. So there was probably some tipsy kids who did some things and said some things that I still remember to this day. I remember being spat on, for example. And I remember dancing to a 20-minute set with spit dripping down my arm, and in my head I'm thinking, don't wipe it off. Don't let that person, that child, don't let that person have the acknowledgement that you've gone, or reaction. You could say it was. So that was one thing. We had people commenting on our music. We had the poor man's steps was often said, and it's kind of like anything. People don't accept that actually these things can hurt. I would like to say that I don't try and read comments. I do. I'm the first person, because you want to know what the reaction is, and it's not always about how you look. It's Gareth, again, my partner. He posted something on his Facebook yesterday. He shared the link to the Scooch stuff, and he said, I'm so proud that people will finally get to hear all the hard work that you've been putting in, because it doesn't just happen, and that's the same for any of us. Whatever you do for work, it's a slog, and we're all hustling, and we're all trying to do the best that we can, also, or be the best that we can be that day, which is measurable.
Yeah, and to bring somebody down for that is just more for them, not for you.
It's we're all mini celebrities, if you think about it. If you've got a social media platform, you are putting yourself out there. We've all played the let's get the likes, let's get the follower games. We've all done that kind of thing. So along with anything that's put out publicly, you're going to have a reaction. We get disappointed when we don't. That picture only got 6 likes. Right, okay, I've got to change my tactic. Get a bit of a nipple out.
Change your hashtags.
We just said it before you came on. It was like, our last video's not had that many. You get don't you? You do. But again, it's like anything. If you're putting something out there, it's. I think what you guys are doing. I don't know where it came from or why it happened, but I think with anything that you put out there, you've got to be passionate about it, because when you start something, it's about, for me personally, it's about knowing where you're going or knowing why you're doing it. Unless it's just, I love flowers and I'm just going to put pictures of flowers on, that kind of thing. It's a different thing. Because things will gain momentum. Things do have a shelf life. We all have a shelf life. I think if you believe in something and you know something's good, then you keep going.
Yeah. Part of the thing is, whatever you do, I think, do it for you.
Yeah.
For no one else. That's one thing that being 43 has taught me.
You're 43?
No way.
Yeah. What's wrong with 43?
You look like 23.
Really? That was very judgy, wasn't it?
Sorry, I'm not judging.
Rhys, I got 3 leans into the screen. You were like, really?
Zoom.
It's because you do not look 43. That's what you meant.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you look really young.
This is something you guys should use as a future episode. It's like, what does a 43-year-old look like?
Yeah, true.
Show you. I know some people.
Normally I look like 18.
So guys, have you got any other questions for David whilst we've got him here?
I do. Lee, do you have any? Because I do.
No, you go. You go.
So we've spoken about your career and we've spoken about everything that's happening in your career, but I want to know about you. So you're obviously engaged to your fiance Gareth, was it?
Yeah, we
Good
got
name.
engaged on holiday. Yeah, great name.
When is the big day?
Well, that's the other thing that we just decided during lockdown. So we're getting married in November. So that's the other thing that just kept us kind of our heads in a better place.
Yeah.
Planning that. So yeah, I can't wait. And again, linking back to one of your earlier episodes, we met through Instagram. You know, that's how we struck up a friendship. And I've been in 43 years, I've had 7 relationships, and the one thing that I learned about Gareth was I'd never fallen in love with a friend, and I genuinely believe that's why I'm marrying him. He has got my back in every sense. He is the best friend I ever had, and I've never had apart from Rhys in the band, I've never really had a great male friend ever. Girls, absolutely.
So good.
You know, definitely. So yeah, that's a very exciting thing. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Yeah.
What about reality shows? So would you ever see yourself on I'm a Celebrity or Big Brother or?
Oh, do you know what? I would love to, but not necessarily for the celebrity thing.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't want to just write a book afterwards or come out and doing the quiz on This Morning kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Not that. I would like to do those things because I'm quite competitive. So I would do something where there's a challenge. So I have thought about this before because somebody asked me the other day, why hadn't I done coach trip? I don't like coaches, so that just anyway. Imagine sharing the loo. I don't like that. So I would love to do, if I could do any, I would be interested to see how I would cope. This is from a viewer's point of view, with the jungle, because I'm a vegetarian and I don't know if I could. I'm very good with mind over matter, but I don't know if I could put my head into a place where I could eat things that I don't like as a survival technique, but I like. What would you, a bit like this time, you know, what sort of person would you become? Where would you grow from that experience? As a performer, I'd love to do Strictly. As a daredevil, I would love to do Dancing on Ice, but only because there's a risk, there's an element, there's that kind of thing. And those 2 shows, because I very much like working with a partner, you know what I mean? I'm a team player rather than a solo flyer.
You just touching then on the ice skating, dancing on ice. Would you, if you had the choice, if they gave you the choice, would you dance with a guy or a girl?
I'd do Strictly and have a guy. I'd love to. It would be interesting. It'd be interesting because again, as somebody who's you know, dance training, when I go and see a live performance, you can often tell if a male dancer has been trained by a female or a male. So I've had male and female training, so I'm very aware how to make it look more lyrical and feminine, but I also know how to make it masculine and butch. So it would be interesting to experiment with that with 2 male dancers. It's a statement. One of the I judged, this is about 6 years ago, a TV show called Made on the Dance Floor, and the winners were actually 2 males, who hadn't met before the competition. They were put together for the competition. That was beautiful to see. It was captivating. It was interesting to watch the audience's reaction to it as well, which was a massive thing. I mean, God, we've moved on even in that short space of time. Our perceptions have moved on, which is great news for all of us. But again, I'd like to dance. I'm a boobs and a bum person as well. Like, you know, I would walk down the street and go, "Oh, look at her boobs." You know, so probably, I just love to do it. But yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. We need to get you on there. Let's get you on Strictly.
Leave it with me.
Who would I dance with?
There's a few. Well,
I'd get to Anton Dubé.
I think that would be all right, though. I think that would work.
I'd be too cheeky for him. I'm too naughty. I'd like grab his bum during the thing. I'm a devil sometimes.
I love that.
Lee, do you have more questions?
Lee, I've got a question
No.
for you. In your mug, what are you drinking?
Water.
Vodka.
I was going to say margarita. Gareth, you're a Glaswegian or a Scottish person, I'm sure. What's in yours? Don't say Iron Brew.
It's coffee. It's
What's
coffee.
inside? Oh, good lad.
I'd love to
Where are
lie
you
and say it's champagne, but it's not.
Where are you from in Scotland? I'm just being nosy.
I'm from Fife.
Oh.
You know where that
I
is?
stayed in Scotland for 2 years. I
Oh,
loved
did
it.
you? Where?
In Ayrshire.
Yeah. So I live in West Lothian now, but originally from Fife. And I lived in Edinburgh for many years. So I'm flat bang now in between Edinburgh and Glasgow.
I loved it. I dated a guy for 3 years from Glasgow, so I spent many a time up there.
I love Glasgow.
Ashton Lane. Loved Ashton Lane. It's my favourite place to go.
Oh, yeah. These boys need to come to Scotland.
I've never been to
It's one of the things that we all met through TikTok, and first of all, me and Rhys were chatting about an idea for a YouTube channel, and then I said, I've met Gareth, and then we all kind of come together, and yeah, episode 7, but we've never actually physically met, and it's weird, this lockdown, you actually start forming friendships, relationships on a totally different level that you've never done. You know, we've spoken to each other off camera, quite intimate about past things that have happened in our lives, and you know, emotional things, you know, breakups and getting togethers and all this, that and the other. So yeah, so it's a bond that I think we've all spoken. It's said that we're going to be probably friends forever type thing, and we can't actually physically wait to actually in the room together and doing a show, and it'll be totally different than this. You know what I mean? We'll be able to like banter up each other a bit more.
Yes.
Well, hopefully, either that or we'll hate each other.
That's a story in itself, though, isn't it? It's. I mean, again, that's a future episode. Something that I've started watching in the current situation is what do you call it? The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
I love that.
I never normally watch that kind of thing. I don't watch much TV, but I'm like American Horror Story. I love that. But
Love
I
American
watch
Horror
that. Oh, it's just the best ever. And watching that kind of thing, like I say to Gareth every night, can we just watch one more? Like we were up till 1 o'clock watching that today, and it's so addictive because you buy into stories. And again, this is a story. I'd be curious to see your 3 reactions when you all get together, because you've never seen each other from the waist down. You know, it's kind of. Well, I wasn't.
True.
I'd have to wear trousers. I would actually have to wear trousers.
We've all seen Rhys. He sends us photos from his pool.
Yes, true.
Yeah,
It's
I'm always in.
different.
It is different. We'd have to have a camera.
What we could actually
We're
do
doing a
when we're
great
actually
thing.
physically meeting up, we could actually film each other, you know, film
Yes.
each other's reactions.
I was like, oh my
You'd
god,
have
you're
to
so
get
sharp.
You have to get your partners to do like hidden cams or your friends or whatever and share it. And you guys put the cameras down and let somebody else's eyes see that.
That's the plan, guys. There we go.
Producer Ducasse. You're just gonna put that bit out and like lip sync it on and go.
Good idea. I'm just making sure I've gone through all of my questions here. I don't want to miss anything.
He's so fangirling right now.
I know. No, I'm so happy you came on, by the way. My other
I should not ask for an autograph.
Yeah, I know. I thought you would.
Don't need that. We've spoken now. We're pals now. I was going to ask if you were still close with Caroline Russ and Natalie, but obviously you are, because I remember when you first released your Zoom kind of reunion on YouTube, and immediately sent it to Derek, my sister's boyfriend. And I was like, oh look, what's happening? And so the fact you've got new material coming out, is so exciting, and a Eurovision movie, because I love Eurovision anyway. The fact that you're involved in it is even better. Do you know when it's coming out?
The film or the song?
Well, we know the song. You said it's coming out
5 p.m. today on
It'll be
YouTube.
out
And that's kind of our involvement. I mean, they want us to do other things, but again, you just kind of turn around and say, okay, but I want some money for that. You know, we don't want to donate our time for nothing. But getting back to the friendship thing quickly, it's so funny because the four of us doing things to perform again, we'll always be friends. We'll always be friends. It hasn't been easy, and I think Russ and Caroline as a couple, because they're a real life couple, which was a bit weird at the start, they've totally changed how they feel about this project. You know, I'm a big softie at times, and it was me saying, actually next year's our 20th anniversary, I really think we should do something. Caroline and Russ said, right, let's have a dinner.
And you're like,
I'm like, no, it's like, let's do something. Let's see what we can do and see if what we want to do with it. And they were like, So me and Natalie were like kind of on a mission, right? Okay, bye. We'll have it, do it H and Claire. We would have got compared to them, wouldn't we? And then it was just that we had a song sorted, had studio time booked, and then they said, well, give us a month to think about it. And then here we are, and it's a bond. And you three will have this from this time, you know, just from what Lee was saying, the conversations that you've had. Nobody else will ever know the support that you've had to each other, and also the support that you give other people through the content that you put out there. You know, you're doing a great thing. You really are. Every little pebble that you throw in that ocean of life ripples and moves someone or something. And some, you know what, guys, you'll probably never even hear from it, but as in you'll never know how it touches people. But what do you think about things watching the content? I loved Rhys's facts. I love
my facts from last week.
That was absolutely fascinating. As a gay man, I felt, why don't I know these things?
I say,
I was the same.
I don't need you. I've got Rhys. I can just say, Rhys, give me a fact.
Now, we have heard from some people as well that it has made a big difference to them. And I said to those guys when we first started this, if we change or help one person, then it was worth it. And we've had a few comments from either straight guys who are coming to terms with being gay, who've got families, and we've got someone who's realised that they want to be a woman, and we apparently have the confidence to do that. And I was like, oh, that's when we know we've done a good thing for people who are watching. I
actually get goosebumps just literally just saying that, because we've had messages privately, and it's just so. And when they actually say, thank you, and I'm thinking, we just came together and we're just having a little chat and telling about our experiences, and it's lovely that we're able to help and educate each other and other people.
We want to show the world that you're not alone. Any LGBTQ plus person, you're not alone. There's hundreds of us. There's some of us in the limelight. There's some of us who are not in the limelight, and we're all together in this. So that's, I think, our main mission.
Yes.
On this show.
You're living a mission. You are. Life doesn't come with a rule book, or if it does, I didn't get mine. So, you just got to find solidarity, companionship, and respect in whatever place that you can, and hold on to it, and then, put it out there even more.
Yeah.
I still hate the fact that I had big lips, though. I'll sort it if I ever see it. I'm joking.
Is there anything else anyone wants to add? Do you want to ask us anything, David?
I was just curious, because when you go on like this, on This Morning, and you think, what are they drinking? What's in there? So I'm just curious.
It's only because we're advertising our mugs.
I don't have mine. I've only got the R.
His is on his way to him. He's in Cyprus. It takes a long time postage.
Gareth, you said that about 3 episodes ago. What?
Yeah.
I know. We've got one on its way to Canada and one on its way to Cyprus. So it's like, how long ago? That was 3 weeks ago now. How long does it normally take?
Not that long. It's Corona. I'm blaming Corona for everything.
Okay.
That's a perfect excuse, isn't it? Until 12 people a day, and then we'll have
something else to moan about.
I think that's Brilliant. I'll just keep.
I do have one last question. I'm really sorry. Do you think, this is all the way back to LGBTQ again, that it is important for any person in the limelight to come out? You've kind of touched on it before, but do you think that they should come out? Do you think it's important that they do?
I've never been asked that before.
Sorry, put you in a position.
It's all right. It's all right. It's a great question, which is why I've gone quiet. Never happened. No, because whether you are in the public eye or not, that is your choice, and you only can say something once, and then it's pass-onable, if that's even a word. So you've got to know that if you, for some people it will be a statement. I don't know how you guys came out individually, but when I did, I thought it was the end of the world. I thought I was going to be disowned and I was going to be stuck in air for the rest of my life. You know, that's it. You will never come back to South Shields. You're a dirty gay guy. And it wasn't. You know, my mum had a friend over and she went, okay, son, call me back at 6 o'clock. And I like, that wasn't the conversation that I heard in my head. That's not how it was meant to be. You know? So, and then it was just like, it's no big deal. Did you see Coronation Street the other night? I want to talk about being gay. No, I don't think. I think if you're comfortable and you have a platform, why not share it? You know, it's part of the 360, isn't it? It's part of who you are. But at the same time, as a gay person, I don't feel the need to walk around with a rainbow flag. You know, it's like anything. What are we aiming for? We're aiming for solidarity here, and I don't ever want to feel like I have to walk into a room and say I'm gay and David's second, or do you know what? This is my male husband. I want to say it's David and Gareth. That's my life. And how does it start? You just live it.
Yeah.
Just live who you are, and the rest will happen.
Perfect answer, sir.
I just love the fact that your fiance is called Gareth. I'm like, oh.
Her name is Derek, though, and that I still laugh today.
Gareth, Derek. See, and my sister's boyfriend's called Derek. He'll be so happy.
I said to him, I've never met anybody called Derek.
No.
In my life. That's what we actually got a video of us having that conversation.
Not as a surname. I've never had Derek as a surname.
His final name's Pitt. So he's taken my name, and he can't say it still either. He still says it wrong. So
I don't feel so bad then. So should we refilm that bit or leave it? Ducasse. Ducasse.
Too tempting.
So I think we've asked everything. Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, David, for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Because I'm going to stop.
Bye. See you soon. Oh, I love that.
Oh, that was so sweet. So again, thank you so much to David Ducasse for coming on.
Yeah, it's really nice for you to join us.
I hope I didn't come across too fangirly.
No, you're fine.
So yes, that
if we had Sarah Michelle Gellar on, I'd be the same as you.
Oh my god, that next we'll be trying to get her.
I'll see you in contact. I'll try.
I'll message Sarah and see if she's available.
I'm a total fangirl with her, so yeah, it's okay.
I'll be like, do you know, we've got 3 Buffy fans here. Come along. That's next. You know, we started with David. We can just like remember had our first star on. Who else can we get?
We have
loads and loads. But no, it was very nice him coming on. I really enjoyed it. And of course, we've got our lip sync at the end, which is a little dedication to Scooch as well, with their song More Than I Needed to Know, one of my favourites. But a quick reminder, if you want to send us an email, it's reallifegaze@yahoo.com. Again, our socials are at reallifegaze. You've got all of our links in the YouTube description, so please get in touch with us. We love hearing your comments. So please, reallifegaze@yahoo.com. Even if it's just to send us a comment, or if you've got any ideas for future episodes, please get in touch now. And of course, as always, our little plug for our mugs. They've been starring in this all episode. I know. Not too long, I'll be with you, Rhys.
Insert mug.
We've got most people who have received their mug has sent me a selfie. So I'm going to wait another week just to get. I'm still waiting on a couple, and then I'll do a little post with everyone's mugs and their selfies. So £12, including postage and packaging. And we have, as we mentioned last time, ordered t-shirts. And once we receive them, hopefully next week, we'll see if the quality is good. We'll see what they're like, and then we'll decide on a price and let you all know how you can buy one.
Yeah.
I'd like to add, boys, before we say goodbye.
I'd just like to say, obviously we're pre-recording this, and I would just like to say a big happy birthday to my dad. His birthday is on Thursday. So happy birthday, pups.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
What's his name?
Brian.
Happy birthday, Brian.
Happy birthday, Brian.
Why do you assume his dad talks like that?
Happy birthday, Brian. That's how dad's talking, it.
My dad doesn't.
No, my dad don't talk like that.
Okay, sorry, Brian. Happy birthday.
Right, guys, I will love you and leave you just now. I will see you on TikTok, and we shall see everyone next week for episode 8. This is episode 7.
8.
Right? Yeah, okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.